So about a week ago, I had the pleasure of going to see James Cameron's Avatar: The Way of Water, the sequel to 2009's Avatar that we have been waiting about 13, 14 years for it to come out, to be released after, for so many years, it being, excuse me, the number one movie in the world, the highest grossing movie in the world, I mean. It's because of its technological achievement, which I can't deny. The special effects in the movie are amazing, but despite that, I have always hated, not really hate, just yeah, no, hated James Cameron's 2009 Avatar simply because I just thought it was real boring. I'm not gonna lie. It just didn't. As a kid, it didn't pique my interest. It looked like a really boring movie. It was really long. It never ended, and I didn't like it. And it been special number one for such a long time, so many years until Avengers Endgame dethroned it for those few months till he re-released it just to be petty and to bring it back. And I was like, because of that, and because of like he was filming all these other sequels, these four other sequels after the success of Avatar, I was just I really wanted this franchise to fail, and I came into the theater really wanting to hate this movie because for those of you who don't know, James Cameron even did an interview talking to I forget who was he doing an interview with, but they basically asked him it was a good time to take a pee break during Avatar: The Way of Water, and he said anytime because you can just watch that scene again when you come back. And I was like, this cocky bastard. I really wanted to hate the movie, so I went to the theater, got sat down, and I watched all 3 hours and 12 minutes of Avatar 2: The Way of Water. And surprisingly, I actually really loved the movie. Like I was shocked. I was like, I really wanted to hate this. I really wanted to hate this. James Cameron was like, you could take a break because you can see it again. I'm like, damn it, I'm gonna have to go see it again because just, it was just a really good time at the movies. It was a really good, well made movie. Just as anybody's just if the first movie has had any precedent, the Avatar franchise now is just going to have just top tier special effects. And looking at some of the behind the scenes of just how this, not only the second one, but the first one was filmed, it's a marvel that the acting is as well as it is because they don't know what they're looking at. They're just on just an empty soundstage wearing weird Navi suits, and it's actually a spectacle that the movie even got to be made, and it looks as good as it is. Like it looks fantastic, and the story is also really compelling. With Jake, it picks up like 10 or so years after the original Avatar. Jake's become a father. He has had two or three, no, three of his own kids, and an adopted child from Sigourney Weaver's Avatar that we don't know where it comes from, but it basically follows a story of the humans, the sky people. They come back to Pandora to finish what they started, and they're looking for Jake, and they're overrunning with them. They can't deal with it, and Jake has to leave in order to protect the forest Navi. So he goes to hide with the sea people, and that's the premise of this movie. And everything after that, every character, there was no character that I disliked. Every character was really interesting, really well written. The older brother, um, his name uh, escapes me for some reason. The older brother was probably my favorite character in the movie. Really respectful, really cool character. Really like take charge. Really looked out for his little brother. I really like that. The younger brother Loak had a really great story with finding this sea creature and trying to protect it, even though nobody believes him. He's always getting into trouble. He's the problem child, and along with Sigourney Weaver, who also plays her daughter in the movie, her teenage daughter. Um, but it works because it's obviously CGI Sigourney Weaver, so you can't really tell. Um, she plays her daughter, and that that character was also really good. Like she's this weird outcast that doesn't really she has these weird strange abilities that not other Navi have, and along with that, like how she's always doing weird stuff all the time, and she also has all the kids, they have um, 5 fingers where Navi usually only have 4 fingers. which makes them an outcast to even more to the sea people because they look different, they work different, they have to try to fit in. Even the youngest sibling, who doesn't have that many scenes, she was really sweet and really nice. I enjoyed all of it. And actually, I'm gonna take that back. The older brother's my favorite character. Zoe Saldana's Neytiri is is the best character, and she's just everybody looks like they're having so much fun on this movie. It just looks it's a really good movie, and I, even I enjoyed it so much coming out of the theater that I actually had to go back and rewatch the first Avatar. I was like, did I get all of it? Did I really even touch? Did I understand what I was watching the first time? And to my surprise, first of all, there was a whole like maybe 40-minute chunk of the movie that I had just never seen. Like after what is it when after Jake and Neytiri mate. After that, I had not seen up to that till the final battle. Not seen any of those minutes. And but rewatching it with new eyes and also just enjoying the sequel, I found myself actually really enjoying the original Avatar. I actually really liked it. By no means I don't think the story is a great achievement among storytelling and writing. It's still a pretty average story, but I just had fun with the world, and that's really the most interesting part of James Cameron's universe that he's building here is the world. There are so many different creatures and cultures and weird plants and weird rules and things that you have to do on on Pandora that just make it so interesting to learn about. And it in some ways it really does feel like Star Wars coming out for the first time and like being like, oh, there's this new sci-fi world. What's there to see? What is also what all this stuff to learn and with the introduction of the sea people and all these other different kinds of Navi with their own different like biomes where they're living and these different cultures. I want to. I found myself wanting to learn more about the world and go on more adventures with these characters. And I even found myself getting emotional a bit towards the ending, and in some parts with the family. The family is the heart of this movie. It really hits you. You feel it. You feel how much Jake cares about his kids. You feel how much Neytiri cares about his kids. You feel how much everybody is fighting to protect each other and that they will never leave each other's side because they love each other. And that's really the message of this movie, the family. Even a character that I failed to mention. Um, I didn't know this, but I know now because I didn't watch any of the trailers for this movie, which I don't do for most movies because I like to be completely just don't know anything when I go into the experience. That they brought back the original villain that was shown in the trailer, and that his kid was left on Pandora, they cloned him and they brought him back in a Navi body, and there's even some family dynamics with that are really interesting that parallel and kind of oppose um, Jake's family, and like his son is with Jake's family basically, but they don't really talk about what happened in the past. It's like a legend to them. Like my dad fought your dad. It was this crazy epic battle. It's one, like this legend that everybody knows. Torik Makto shows up for the sixth time in just since the beginning of their civilization, and it's it's just really compelling. Family and the world building is really strong here. It's really great, and I cannot. I find myself just really excited for more Avatar content. And I did find out, I need to do some more fact checking, but I did find out that James Cameron plans on releasing a 9 hour director's cut for Avatar 2 The Way of Water, and I'm 100% going to watch all 9 hours of that to give my review on that, just to experience more of the world, because we're going to have to wait 2 more years, which is way better than the 13 years people had to wait before for the sequel um, to the original Avatar. Um, but I myself anxious for more Avatar content. That's really good. It's really a credit to James Cameron for making like just such a well made, interesting and new sci-fi universe that is really cool. It's not all great though. The movie is, 3 hours long, and it's very hard to make a 3 hour movie that you really don't feel it. And around the middle of it, you really start, when they're learning the way of water, you really start to feel like this movie's kind of starting to drag a little bit. Like, when is it gonna get to like the action, like the interesting stuff? And don't get me wrong, it's all good stuff. It's like it's good, but it's like it can be a bit much. Like it's like we're spending too much time on this. Come on, you could cut some out of this, but again, it's a credit to the filmmaking that I really don't know what to cut out simply because all of it comes back at the end. Like I feel like everything that I was like, this is too much. I don't like this. It all comes back in some small way, shape, or form. A lot of things are set up that are paid off in the final act beautifully, and it's just I don't even know how to cut it out, but and it's not like a bad thing. Like yes, sometimes some parts are gonna drag in movies, but if you stick it out to the end, I think you will find yourself enjoying it. Or anybody who hasn't seen Avatar: The Way of Water, or even the Avatar, I encourage you to try it because it is a really really fun time. Um, but yeah, it does drag a bit in the middle. Like when they're meeting the family and they're learning the new ways of the other sea people. It's like, come on, dude, get to the stuff, and it comes, and it's all like, oh, it's all coming back. It's all worth it. So, I don't even know what to hate, and I'm really curious to see what 6 more hours will add to this movie. This is like when George Lucas came out with the Phantom Menace, and then there was like interviews talking about a 6 hour cut of the Phantom Menace. It's supposed to be mind-bogglingly good, and obviously we didn't and never got that cut. We got the original cut, the 2 hour or so cut of the Phantom Menace, and just like maybe that's what inspired It's probably far fetched. Inspired George Lucas to release a 6 hour cut if he still has it. Like just new sci-fi worlds are always so good, and it's always nice to just see a new original story that hasn't really belonged to any sort of franchise, but now it's becoming a franchise. So yeah, if you're on the fence about seeing Avatar, you didn't really enjoy the first one, I encourage you, please give Avatar 2, The Way of Water, a chance like I did. I really, really wanted to hate this movie. I looked for every single reason, and I came out really loving it. And maybe you will too. So yeah, that was my review of Avatar: The Way of Water. I need a rating system, don't I, to rate this movie? I'm trying to think of a special one, but I don't really have anything yet. I'll come up with it later. But for now, I'm going to rate this movie 9 out of 10 stars. Is it go up? 9 out of 10 something. It's a 9 out of 10. It's a really good movie. 9 out of 10. Please go see it. And yeah, look forward to more reviews and more Avatar stuff in the future when they release um, the 9 hour cut, and also probably going to be doing a discussion with some of my friends, talking about some of the other people from Community Sidetrack, talking about what we thought about the movie as a whole, and maybe it's just some other movie reviews in general from some other movies down the line. So yeah, with that being said, thank you for watching, and end of video.